Rosie here at Just Chill Baby Sleep. I'm on today to talk about older children and sleeping habits. So lots of people ask me about babies, but obviously older children can have sleep issues as well. So I thought I'd come on and give my top tips for helping your older children to sleep. So when it comes to older children, and by age I'm talking about like age 3 plus, it comes down to a few things. Number one, you want to create a really good sleeping environment. So a nice calm bedroom. Don't have too many distractions. So have, simple toys, but try and tidy them away in the evenings. Have quiet play if they're going to be playing in the bedroom. No tech. So you need to take away televisions and games consoles and things like that because they really, really affect sleep. The white and blue light that's emitted from these devices can interfere with the brain when we're trying to switch off to go to sleep. So I generally say after 5 p.m, try to have no screen time at all if possible. Certainly no screens in the bedroom. Have some nice comfortable bedding for your child. Try and have cotton bedding because I find where it's a bit more breathable and less sweaty, they don't get overheated and their skin doesn't get irritated. So cotton bedding's a really good one. Try and keep lighting low. If they're a child who likes to read before bed, that's wonderful, but just keep a low light for reading rather than the big bright light. And that's fine. Reading is actually a relaxing activity to do before bed, so that's fine. Reading a book with your child is fantastic. So as part of a nice relaxing bedtime routine, I would try and do that. One of the things with older children, often people put them to bed too late. If they go to bed too late, they can get overtired. When we're overtired, cortisol, our stress hormone, raises in the body. This can interfere with the natural process of switching off for bedtime. So try and put them to bed at a sensible time. Depending on age, it can vary, and depending on the child and what time they need to be up in the morning. A school-age child who needs to be up at 7:30 in the morning, I would be suggesting a bedtime of 7:30 to 8 p.m. approximately. But try and see what works for your child. If you're putting them to bed at 8:39 under the age of 7, I would try moving it forward a little bit and see if that helps your child switch off for bedtime. So a nice relaxing bedtime routine is great. So after dinner, make sure you're lowering the lighting a little bit, have quieter play, lots of nice reading, relaxing activities, talking to your child about what's happened that day if they're willing to talk to you about it. That's why I quite like, if possible, for you to sit down and have a meal with your child. That's sometimes when they will open up and speak to you about their day. One of the other things with older children is sometimes anxiety can really affect sleep. So if something's going on at school that you might not know about, that can affect how your child's feeling and they might be worrying about it at bedtime. So potentially try and get them to open up to you. If they don't want to, what you can do is create something called a worry box, which I love. So any kind of box, maybe an old shoe box or a tin or something. If your child's into craft, you could get them to decorate it. If they're not, don't worry, just have it as it is. Maybe write on it worry box, tape it onto there. Have this worry box next to your child's bed. Now, depending how good they are at writing and the age, if they want to, they could write down their worries and put them in the box. So fold them up on a bit of paper and say, the worries you can worry about tomorrow, but for tonight, they go in the box and we don't worry about them until morning. Sleep is a place to relax and not have to worry. If they are a younger child, you can just imagine that you're putting the worries into the box. That can help. Having a little toy in bed, like essentially a comforter, but for older children, it can be a teddy. I don't think they're ever too babyish really, unless the child is really adverse to them. So it could be like a teddy, a soft toy. It could even be a harder toy if they take a particular liking to something. I've even seen a child take their Action Man to bed, even though it's a hard toy. So with that toy, you want them to have a connection to that. Say goodnight to the toy before bed. You can even say goodnight to a few toys and try that. and say, I want you to look after so-and-so, for example, Rosie the bear. You might say, I want you to look after Rosie the bear tonight. Give Rosie the bear a big kiss and say goodnight, say it's time to sleep, and then they have responsibility for that toy at bedtime. They can also potentially get a bond with the toy, so it supports them at night time. They know that they're not on their own. Night lights, stick to light that is an amber, an orange, a reddish, a pinkish colour, because if you have a bright white or blue night light, it can affect sleep, so that's another tip. In terms of saying goodnight to your child, be firm but kind. Give them a big cuddle, put them down to bed, say, I love you very much, it's time to sleep now, good night. And try leaving the room. If they're a child that's distressed, absolutely stay with them until they are calm. But anytime they're calm, I want you to try and leave the room before they nod off. That way, they know that they've fallen asleep themselves. So that gives them more confidence to go back to sleep themselves in the night. So you could try that. You can stay with them longer, and that works really well as well. And what I would suggest if you do that is each night across the course of a week or two, try gradually moving towards the door, and then eventually your child will be sleeping independently. It's quite normal for children and adults to wake up during the night. We don't all sleep soundly for 12 hours necessarily. We do stir in our sleep. We have sleep cycles. Sometimes children might wake up and need a drink of water or need to go to the toilet, and we don't tell them off or be nasty about that. That's fine, just a reassurance, take them for a drink, take them for a wee, and back to bed. If they're doing that 10 times a night, we need to look at why they're doing it. I don't believe we need a drink every hour, age 7 for example, but a couple of times a night is acceptable. So you have to work out whether your child actually needs that in the moment, or if they're using it as a reason to get out of bed, really. But we're always kind but firm, and just return them to bed and say it's time for sleep now, rather than playtime, messing around time, or doing something else. So those are my top tips really. Sleep environment, looking at tech, looking at night lights, returning them to bed, being firm but being loving and accepting of your child, and helping them and supporting them to sleep. So I hope that's helpful for you all. I'll be back soon. Bye.